call the meeting in order. 6:30, public comment. Anybody has a public comment, just raise your hand, you'll be recognized. Come forward, state your name and address, try to keep it 3 minutes, please.
Ann Tappan, Stepping Stones Road, and I'm speaking as a member of the Conservation Commission. At the last Select Board meeting, Chairman LaCourse presented board goals. During that discussion, he recommended not continuing with selectmen representatives to commissions and committees. Mr. Busby is a representative to the Conservation Commission, and he regularly attends the meetings. The Conservation Commission appreciates that, and that has been expressed to Selectman Busby. He gets to see the commission in action and at a level of detail that cannot be duplicated in brief occasional reports to the board. Having a select board representative at commission and committee meetings is a win-win arrangement. I urge the board to continue this valuable practice. Thank you.
For the record, if they would like to attend these meetings, they're welcome to. For the record. Please.
John Tappan, Stepping Stones Road. At the last meeting, I presented a drawing, which was a recommendation for a larger area for purchase of the church property. Using the sketch that was on the town website and extending the line back, that line went through the cemetery. And the question was, well, where is the cemetery really? So at the Facilities Committee meeting last week, Selectman Bugby had surveys of the town property and a survey that covered most of the church property. So with the distances and bearings on those surveys, I drew the two properties. And then the internal features on those properties I scaled from the drawing, including the location of the cemetery. And then my wife and I went out there with a 200-foot fiberglass tape and measured from the iron posts or steel posts that mark the boundary of the town property to the cemetery. And we also ran visual sight lines from the cemetery to confirm the orientation of it, angular orientation. And the match was amazing. The tape measure and the scaling difference was less than 0.5%, less than half a foot. Angular orientation matched to better than half a degree. And so on this drawing, I've shown the location of the cemetery. I've drawn the cemetery as the minimum rectangle that would fit around the cemetery because the fences there is not quite rectangular. I've shown the 25-foot offset, and if that was projected to be perpendicular to the road frontage, this drawing shows that you'd be looking at 178.3 feet of road frontage. I'm certainly not recommending that that be the starting point because this is not a survey. I used a fiberglass tape and visual sight lines. But this shows that in fact a reasonable distance on the road would fully enclose the cemetery. And that's all I have. If there are other questions that come up about it, I'd be happy to answer those if anybody has them. And we want to say that I signed up for this course as a pass-fail, not waiting for, because this drawing really isn't quite what I would like to be presenting, but it's all I had time for.
Well, it gets the point across. Thank you very much. Questions on the board?
Oh, I'd like to thank Mr. Tappan and his assistant, who must have held the other end of the tape, for doing that, because it's very helpful. One of the things I learned from Karen is, in terms of, no matter who gets the cemetery, there has to be a 25-foot buffer on it. That's why that's there. Probably not wrong. So this is good, at least to get an idea of where that particular line goes. So it's appreciated.
I should correct one other thing. I was also asked at this meeting and at the Facilities Committee meeting, how many graves are there in that? And I stated that based on the list that's in the master plan, it shows a cemetery behind the church as the Josiah Bartlett Cemetery with 2 stones. And we learned, when we went out there, from someone from the Historical Society, that in fact the list in the master plan is wrong. That's not the Josiah Bartlett Cemetery. It's completely someplace else, and this has far more than 2.
Oh.
And we also learned what old fieldstone headstones look like, and they do not look like much.
And there's supposedly like 8
Really?
individuals out there, so 2 is something, but 8 is a significant amount. The other thing I learned is that the land that the church chapel is on was purchased from the town in 1861. So interesting. That's interesting.
History is always interesting. Any other public comments?
I do need to reinforce Mrs. Tappan's comments about the committee representatives. As you know, I sit on the energy and the ag, and both of them expressed their thoughts about they would like us to attend the meetings. They think that it does help. I think that it helps, so I will continue to attend those.
Absolutely. Thank you. Next is a public hearing. It's HB 329. To get this on the floor, I move to legalize, ratify, and confirm all actions, votes, and proceedings from the postponed town meeting / voting session that was held on March 18, 2017. And I will also hear public comment of the issue. Do I have a second? Second. Motion's on the floor. At this time, I'm opening up the public hearing. But before we do that, there is a resolution that's tied to this, and I'm going to read excerpts from it, unless the town secretary wants to read it.
Want me to read it? I'll read it. Whereas the town of Lee had the 2017 town meeting voting session scheduled for March 14, 2017, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Public Safety Complex located at 20 George Bennett Road, in accordance with the provisions of RSA 4013. On March 12, 2017, at 8:28 p.m., the New Hampshire Bureau of Homeland Security and Emergency Management provided an initial briefing from the National Weather Service. The NWS issued a winter storm warning for all of New Hampshire, warning of a major winter storm. The prediction of the NWS was for 8 to 18 inches with 1 to 4 inches per hour possible. Blizzard conditions were possible with gusts of winds from 30 to 40 miles an hour. Governor Chris Sununu warned citizens not to travel on the roadways unless it was absolutely necessary. State offices and liquor stores were closed in anticipation of the winter storm. On the morning of March 13, 2017, Town Moderator Jan Neal determined that the forecasted weather presented an unnecessary risk to the safety of voters who would need to travel to the polls to vote. This was done in accordance with RSA 40:4. I won't read the entirety of that. It's certainly available if anybody's interested. The moderator postponed the voting day from March 14, 2017 to March 18th. The voting times and the location remained the same. On March 13, 2017, a notice was posted on the town website, at Town Hall, on the Lee Transfer Station TV monitor, and at the Public Safety Complex. The notice was also posted on the signboard in front of the Public Safety Complex. The information was provided to the WMUR television station, radio station WOKQ, and Foster's newspaper. Therefore, the moderator acted within her authority. Further, she acted in the best interest of the voters by postponing the voting session of town meeting in the interest of public safety. The decision to postpone ensured the safety of citizens and allowed for the processes of democracy to occur without unduly infringing upon the right to vote. After a properly notified public hearing in accordance with the provisions of House Bill 329, which was passed into law on April 21st, 2017, we do hereby ratify the 2017 ballot session town meeting and all actions taken by the legislative body by vote of the people on March 18, 2017.
Questions from the board? comments or questions from the public at this time? Hearing none and seeing none, all in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Hearing's closed.
Public hearing is now closed. Was Murdoch supposed to be here or just?
I thought he was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
He told me he was going to be late and had asked to move to the end of it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Roger, you're up. Transfer station manager, Bobcat sweeper attachment purchase.
Roger Rice, Transfer Station Manager. I have a little research with the help from Randy Stevens, and I've got several quotes that were around $4,900 for a 72-inch sweeper. We had originally thought we would best serve with a 60-inch sweeper, and Randy pointed out that we're far better off having one that's the same width as the machine. John Tappan just picked my mind on the same subject. We're best off having it the same width as the machine. And so the quote that I hope you have in front of you shows a 72-inch sweeper for $42.85, which is what we think would be the best served the town. It's the quote for the 5-foot or 60-inch was $38.54. It weighs almost 100 pounds more, but it's all three Bobcats that we have can adequately handle the size and the weight of the attachment, even when it's picked up a lot of sand and what we're after.
So it will go on all three of our,
Yes,
without any modifications or anything?
correct.
Hit me again on this, the quote you're asking, how much you're asking for?
$4,285.
And it's now a 72-inch sweeper.
And it's 6 foot. You already have all of this.
I don't have that
I
quote.
know, but it didn't make it.
No, and I've got one copy.
That's all right.
Well, actually, it's 2 pieces. So you can keep that inch, 72 inch.
Any issues?
Nope. Nope.
Scott, any problems?
We need,
It's $430 more for the,
No.
from 30. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. I move to grant the transfer station manager permission to enter into a contract to purchase a Bobcat sweeper attachment with the amount not to exceed $4,285. Said funds will come out of the transfer station equipment capital reserve fund.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
I,
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
That's it, Roger? You're done?
And I'm not leaving, but that's all we had for the money side.
I just,
Thank you.
Item 6, Bill Hum, Conservation Commission Chair, addendum to baseline conditions report for Five Corners easement.
Good evening. I am Bill Hum, Conservation Commission Chair. The document that you have in front of you was prepared by Southeast Land Trust of New Hampshire. They are the successor agency to Stratford Rivers Conservancy. When the town acquired Lee Five Corners in 2008, one of the agreements with the seller, the town of Durham, was that we would place a conservation easement on the property, and that was done with Stratford Rivers Conservancy. About a year ago, Stratford Rivers merged with Southeast Land Trust, and Southeast is now the governing organization. What this document is basically is to assure all parties, namely the town as owner, Southeast Land Trust as holder of the conservation easement, and the town of Durham as executive interest holder, that the property is as this document represents. There have been a few changes since the property was acquired in 2008, but this is a way of saying, okay, all the parties now agree that this is the condition of the property as of this time. So if there are questions about any of the specifics, I'd be happy to try to address them.
Comment? Question?
The Conservation Commission is okay with this? I don't.
Yes,
Okay.
I think you would have told us if you weren't, right?
Well, I thought it.
Strongly.
I would
It's
hope so.
best not to assume, but I assume, yes.
Very good. I move to approve the addendum to the baseline conditions documentation report for the town of Lee Five Corners Reserve Conservation Easement presented by the Southeast Land Trust of New Hampshire.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Just in closing, I will apologize for the
I can see it.
numerous initials that are required of the chair to finalize this
You just need an
document.
initial as the grantor on all these pages, and then all three selectmen need to sign. I think it's just in one place each.
You don't have to do this, just the signature page. Here's the next page.
This is the next page.
Yes, you're there.
Got it.
Are you notarizing? On the previous page.
Okay.
No, the previous page, not this. And mine's on the previous page.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7, Randy Stevens, Highway Supervisor. 2 issues, cab and chassis bid results and equipment bid results. Welcome.
Good evening. I assume you all saw the bids in the packet? It's all there, make copies. I did make a few copies of a couple different ways to go. We'll go through the bids in a minute. I think there's one there for you. I don't have many visuals tonight, but this is a picture of the engine that they all quoted. Unfortunately, it's a new engine this year, it's a 2017. It's the same, pretty much the same basic engine that's in the new fire tanker, Cummins it's an ISL9 in the tanker, and this is called the L9. The big difference is the emissions. They streamlined the emissions quite a bit. Instead of having two big exhaust cleaning tanks, they have one. Other than that, I haven't been able to find out too much about it. I was gonna run down to Brentwood to the Cummins deal and see what they need. Haven't got there yet. So anyway, I just really trying to get a feel from the board, how you'd like, what information you would like out of me, or how you want to proceed, or whatever, so. On the cabin chassis, Liberty International was the low bid. They were 87,000, and then the Western Star was 95,661, the Peterbilt was 95,751, Kenworth was 98,324, Freightliner was 89,812 with a Cummins engine, 95,340 with the Detroit engine. And the Western Star was 10,600 more with a Detroit engine, which is a real good proven engine, but it weighs, it's 10,000 something more, and it weighs about 950 pounds more, which in a tandem axle truck wouldn't be too much, but we're already really pushing the weight pretty hard here. As far as the, I guess the other option was a 30,000 rear and aluminum wheels, and, they're nice, but they don't rust. Trailer air brake controls and electric air brake controls are the big things that were the options. The equipment bids came back kind of funny. I say that because only one of them did it the way they did ask for. And that was the Viking Citus, I guess it's called. We have a lot of Viking equipment, we like it, so we're not too disappointed that they were a little bidder. Might remember the pictures I showed you how clean the shop it was, I think, and you know, how you could almost eat off the floor. That's this vendor. The unfortunate part is they're 98.6 miles away or something. But I feel pretty comfortable with them as a vendor.
Randy, the low bid truck doesn't have a transmission warranty?
No, I didn't include it. I would assume it's the same because all the trucks on their standard quote had the same engine and the same transmission. So it's the extended warranty on transmissions done by Allison. As you can see by the price, they don't have much problem with them because it's only $460.
Pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering why I didn't include it.
Guess
Just to get his bid down, or?
No, because that was an option. The extended warranty was an option. I guess and he forgot to put the weight in. I think I put it in. Did I put it in there? No, I didn't. So, anyway, the weight on the International is about, let's see, I think it was just under 13, the others are 14. The International is about 12 to 1,500 pounds lighter.
780 pounds.
1,200, 780.
Jeez.
And the other trucks are 14, so it's about 1,200, 1,300 pounds lighter. And there's a reason for that. It's got a little bit lighter frame, and it's got a lot of plastic in it. I tried to get your picture print out before it came out, but it didn't want to. It's just, and the cab is a little smaller on the International, so for everything to fit under the hood, and the hood's a little smaller, so everything to fit in there, it's crammed in. It's almost, looks like it's almost impossible. You can't even see the engine. You open the hood, you can't see the engine, all you see is
Just loaded.
it's just stuff all over it. And part of the engine's back under the cab, in the cab with you, I should say. And that's the way our trucks are, but it wasn't bad when the engines were real simple, but now they're not simple, and it's a little bit of a problem, so.
And what's the power output of the DD13 compared to?
The DD13 is a 13 liter, and the Cummins is a 9 liter. So it's quite a
So
difference.
it's quite a bit more powerful.
Now, the DD13, they quoted a 370 loss, which is on the low end of it, whereas the Cummins, and that goes up to 470, the DD13 horsepower. The Cummins goes from 280 to 350, I think, so they quoted a 330, which is on the upper end. If you were out in the Berkshires of Mass, like a few of the people I called, and you got 16 to 18% hills, that does make quite a difference, because the engine doesn't have to work so hard and it'll last longer. But
Right.
in Lee, I don't know, we got hills, but it doesn't take long to get up over them.
Not that big of a
And
hill.
then it's a while before you get to another one, so I don't
But
think,
does the even nicer truck have a higher vehicle weight if it's loaded than the others?
yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's up,
So it
fif-
carries a bigger load?
Oh, as far as gross vehicle weight,
Yeah,
No.
gross vehicle
It
weight.
weighs
No.
more.
no, it's actually got 1,000 less, because 950 less, because the engine's 950 pounds more. So it can't carry anymore. The tandem axle, it could.
Difference between those two.
So I think it's almost 15,000 for the Western style with the DD13 in it. And the Freightliner is the same way. You gotta add almost 1,000 pounds for the, it's a real proven engine. They say it's good on fuel and it's very, very little problem, but for Lee, I don't know if it's really.
So which one is your choice?
I didn't say I had a choice. I try to figure out which way the sled went.
Which one is your choice?
He says he's not gonna make his choice till May 22nd.
Recommendation, May 22nd. I'm sharing information and trying to get a feel of, if you were gonna go low bid, I wouldn't bother to do a whole lot more homework. If you wanna get the best value for a long term, then I need to do some more homework.
Well, I think
Do a presentation.
I think value is the magic word, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't like the low bid one for the reason that it doesn't have a stainless steel body. It says it has a painted body. I don't like that particular feature. I kind of like the truck in the middle. I don't think we need the larger engine.
Yeah, the only reason to get it was because the only reason to get it would be because it has a little better track record. It's a little more proven. This new Cummins, it sounds good. Like I say, the tanker has it. They haven't any trouble for how long we're able to get the tanker. About a year, I guess, or less.
But is it $10,618 better?
I don't think so.
So I'm leaning toward the middle.
Yeah. And, this could be, that same thing could be with any truck then. So the mountain of demonstrations is like the 25th, and all the trucks will be there. Good chance all the trucks will be there. So, we could go up and, any selectmen want to go up and take a look, or we could, it's kind of nice in a way, because instead of, you go up and look at International, and then 2 weeks later you go look at the Western Star, it's a little hard to compare them side by side.
Well, I'd like to go. I'm also leaning towards the power. I like power, because
So don't I.
power goes down over a period of time,
You kinda lose it over time.
so.
Okay, so let me run this one by you. Our most powerful truck we have now is 275 horse.
Yeah.
And this one's gonna be 330.
Good.
Good.
The 4700, is that the one he brought up here that we saw?
Yes.
It's just as a shorter, it's not a triaxle, it's a,
Right, he did bring up a shorter version, which I
Okay,
think I
I
showed
didn't see
you
that
pictures, yeah.
Okay.
So they brought, McDivitt, I was looking stuff over Saturday morning, I emailed him, because he quoted 8 1/4 wheel, and the spec said 9. So I emailed him at, 9:30 or something. A few minutes later, he emailed me back, that's my mistake, you know what the cost.
So how long have we had now our oldest truck?
How long have we had it, or how old is it?
Huh?
How long have we had it, or how old is it?
two different answers.
Well, how old is it?
It's 1985, so it's 32 years old.
So we bought it used,
Yes. We
Okay.
bought it in 91, we bought it.
32 years old. So you can just imagine what happens for 32 years on the even nicer truck. Power is gonna be great. I think it's worthwhile to buy the power. So that's,
Your opinion?
huh?
I agree that a low bid truck is out, because you sold me in the stainless steel body, you're gonna have that thing, so. Yeah, I can go either way, the middle one or the upper one. I tend to like power myself, but
Well,
I like juice, I tell
I
you.
tend to like power myself.
That's why I got all V8s in the yard.
It's an
but
opinion.
anyways, yeah.
Like I say, we're fighting the weight thing, that's the only
Yeah.
problem I have with it, really.
Why,
Not-
why,
not so-
why are we fighting it? What's it?
Well, we're fighting it because the trucks are heavier now. For an example, I think our heaviest cab and chassis, they have stickers on them when they come through from the factory.
Mhm.
I think our heaviest cab and chassis is around 11,000. And now, we're looking at trucks that are 14 or 15,000. And we can only carry 8 tons of hot top legally, with what we got, so, you add more weight.
You add more weight, yeah.
That's my
You carry
concern.
less hot top.
It doesn't seem to concern much anybody else, I guess, but it does me.
Well, I could live with either the better truck or the even nicer one, and then I would lean on your decision at that point.
So, I mean, the Western Star, I've contacted 3 or 4, well, contacted 6 people, but it's pretty hard to get road people to call you back this time of year. They're not hanging around most of the time, so. But they all say the comfort and the ride is, and the quietness of it are better than any truck they've driven.
Well, obviously you have a vote too, so.
At least we took one out of the picture, the low bid.
Right. You know, I like some things about the International, but I don't like all the plastic in it. That you can't hardly work on it. So the Western Star, the biggest advantage I see the Western Star is point-to-point wiring. All the others have the multiplex, and there's a whole bunch of modules in there. If you cross a wire, you blow a
Well,
module.
yeah, it
five.
makes a big difference for
5 or 6.
troubleshooting and everything.
Oh, yeah, you know, all the turn signals and everything go through it, so, you know, the turn signal doesn't work, you replace the bulb, still doesn't work, probably gonna have to take it back to dealer for,
Gosh.
instead of chasing, you know, or you gotta get, all these modules have little LEDs in them, which probably all right, you can probably see them for the first couple of years, and you probably get all, because they're plastic, you can't see them.
You know,
And you have to have the wiring diagram plus a diagnostic diagram to figure it out, so. That's the thing, and also, they give it, the Western Star, they will give you a guaranteed buyback, and they did give that to me, it's not a whole lot, but, whether you trade or not. In 10 years, it's 25,000, and in 15 years, it's 15,000. So they guarantee you that much as a repurchase.
What's the horsepower? What's the horsepower of the middle one?
It has a Cummins, so it'd be 330.
And the last one?
The last one, it has the DD13, so it'd be 470. That's a,
right there,
no, not 470, excuse me, 370.
330 to 470.
370,
So,
370.
yeah,
So it's 40 more horsepower.
right.
So you're paying how much more?
10,000, almost 11.
10,000 for 40 horsepower?
Well,
The torque is, the peak torque on the DD13, the Detroit, is at 1,150 RPMs. The peak torque, and that's, it's 1,100 and something pounds a foot torque, 1,150, I believe, on the DD13, and it's 1,000 pounds of torque at 1,400 RPMs.
so faster on the 9, yeah.
So it has to turn up a little faster to, but the torque isn't all that much difference. It's 40 horsepower, 150 pounds torque.
Yeah.
You just gotta rev the engine up just a little more to get it.
Okay. Hey, if you're good with the middle one, and
Well, I'd like to do some more research on the Cummins. You know, the deal of pushing the DD13, the Freightliner dealer and the Western Star dealer are pushing the DD13, but that's also owned, the Detroit's owned by the same parent company. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it or not. So anyway, I mean, I haven't really looked the Freightliners over, that was only a couple thousand more. I don't like the look of them, but that shouldn't really affect what I like the look of.
so if the trucks are gonna be at that show
Yeah.
on the 25th, I'd like to go up there with you.
I wasn't gonna go this year, but
And now you're
Nothing
gonna
to do
go.
with you.
Now you're gonna go. All right, so you got your answer.
All right, so, are you fairly comfortable with going with the Viking on the plow? You want to see what all the pictures of what the stuff would be, or,
No, I don't need
Wow.
to see that. I trust you on that stuff.
you know, we have Viking plows that we bought in '85, so they're still going to wing. They get pretty tired, but it's, we like them. So I kind of keep that we're going to go with the Viking, and we'll go to the mountain and demonstrations and look at trucks.
That's when, what day, 25th?
25th, so I think the Selectmen's meeting's
22nd.
22nd. Yeah, it should be the 20th, it's always on a Thursday.
Okay.
So we won't be able to do anything till
Yes, to the
almost 2
following.
weeks after again.
Yes. So we'll put that off till the
Well,
following meeting.
who's going to the mountain of demonstrations?
Who?
Who is?
I don't know. You expressed an interest.
Yes, I already expressed, and I was turned down because I was told that he wasn't going. Staff-
Well, now you got two select people possibly
Well,
going.
help that.
That's why I'm saying, because what I would like to do personally is I'd like to get our order in as soon as possible, so we can get it in the pipeline, so we can get it, because the holdup is gonna be going to the Viking people, because they're usually the holdup, is my understanding, right?
If they know ahead of time, they plug you in. I mean,
Yeah.
if I call them up tomorrow and say, yeah, we're gonna use you, but, I mean, I gotta go up and, I'm gonna have to go up and go through all the details about the body and the sander.
What's the lead time for the truck?
90 to 120.
Yeah.
It's about the same, that's about the same for the body.
See, I wanna get our order in
Oh, I
before
agree.
everybody else gets theirs in July 1st, and then we're fighting with everybody else.
Mhm.
So if we get our order in as soon as possible,
You've got 2 months.
yeah, but stuff drags on.
Well, it doesn't have to.
Well,
So you want to go by the next meeting, talk about the equipment?
I think if we were to go and have the demonstration and maybe have the meeting right after that or something, just so we can order it and get it out of the,
Okay.
I don't necessarily want to wait another 2 weeks or a week and a half or whatever. I want to get it in as soon as possible.
I don't have any problem with that.
I mean, I think it's,
Yeah.
I guess it'd only be fair to the Peterbilts and the Freightlines and all that, to at least look them over.
Okay.
And all of them, and sometimes, at least we'll have a good justification why we didn't go for a little bid,
Absolutely.
which I think you need to do if you don't do a little bid.
So that's the 25th, Randy?
The mountain of demonstrations is 25th.
Okay, and then you want to have a special selectmen meeting after that?
Well, for, I don't know, who's, that's why I said who's going. Is the 3 of us going?
No, two of you going.
Well,
Oh.
You don't need-
again,
all you need is
I
two.
still want to caution that 2 selectmen there making a decision, that's a meeting.
Well, that's why I'm saying post it as a meeting.
How is the public going to attend?
We'll have the
You're
meeting
gonna
with
take
that.
them, you're gonna take them up in police cars, right?
I don't see there's that big a hurry that it can't wait till the next meeting, myself.
All right. I just
Okay.
don't want, I just was talking with those people the last time, I don't remember who the guy was, but he was talking about all the delays, and if we can get in before everybody else does July 1st, then we're so much better off.
Yeah, Maine, they start their whole thing, the whole state of Maine, July, so they're not too bad at Viking
Good.
right now. So
Okay.
as long as we get plugged in before Maine starts all theirs.
Okay, all right.
And it seemed like the Western, if you go with the Western Star, they had a pretty quick, he was saying 90 days, but, well, last time I talked to him. But.
Fair enough.
So what do you think about aluminum wheels for another $1,000?
I like aluminum wheels.
Is
They
it
look
worth a
nice.
grand? Is it worth $1,000?
They look
No.
nice, though.
No,
Never-
they're not worth $1,000. I mean,
They're
what,
nice.
huh?
They look nice.
Well, they only look nice when they shine.
No, that's true, then they dull out, I know.
Their maintenance, if you want them to look nice, they're a
You gotta
maintenance
polish it.
headache.
But the other ones, you gotta sandblast and paint all the time with steel.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, I just.
Either it's dull or you sandblast.
Makes no
If you
difference.
want aluminum wheels, it's fine.
Makes no difference to me whatsoever.
Why'd you bring it up?
I want to see what you guys want to. By the way, what color?
Oh, God, aluminum.
I put in yellow in the bid, but it's gonna be, I mean, the yellow and the black go pretty good, but this is gonna be yellow and stainless steel, so. I think maybe the green might actually look
I
better.
like the green.
Gonna look like that Transformer that turned into the Corvette.
Yeah.
Optimus
Bumblebee.
Prime?
Bumblebee.
No, Bumblebee.
Oh, Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
That, but he turned into Camaro.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I
yeah, you
think,
want.
Corvette, Camaro.
Jeez.
Same
There's a
thing.
difference, there is a difference.
I think the yellow does show up a little better, but
June
this thing's gonna have so many lights on it, it should show up better.
I like the green one.
You and the crew pick out the
Yeah.
colors.
Yes, ask Warren, who's gonna be driving it, what color he likes.
Right.
Jeez.
I don't think he cares. Okay, so we'll, I'll make arrangements so we can all get up there in separate vehicles, so. There's no vote. Warren, one of you guys will have to go with Warren, Pete, and the other one
There you
go
go.
with me.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ready?
So do these at the end, I guess, or whatever you want, but apparently you also have to initial all three pictures.
Next item, Select Board Fund Balance Policy. Remember, part of the aspirations of, a while back, we were talking about things we should either talk about or reconsider. In your packet, you should have got a copy of the fund balance policy by the town of Lee. That was done, approved by the Selectmen August 20th, 2012. And if you look in the back here, it says minimum level of unassigned fund balance. Says the Board of Selectmen will strive to maintain an unassigned fund balance in the general fund equal to 12% of the town's total annual appropriation. The board will review this information each year in order to determine the amount of any of the unassigned fund balance to use to balance the budget and or to reduce the property tax rate. And it says the following are the guidelines established by the New Hampshire Government Finance Officers Association. 5 to 15% of regular general fund operating revenues, or 8% to 17% of regular general fund operating expenditures. I guess at this point, I'm looking for the board to, well, discuss this, but I'm hoping we will ratify or accept or continue this fund balance policy as written as of August 20th, 2012. Julie, you have some information, you have put some material together, can you just go through that for us?
Yeah, you may recall the last discussion we had, or the last lengthy discussion we had on this was February 14th with the town treasurer and the finance officer. And surrounding that, the finance officer and the treasurer put together some information about where we were at that time with the fund balance. So according to the analysis that they did, the adjusted fiscal 16 fund balance stands at $1,844,155, which, according to their calculations, is 12%. So we are currently at the existing policy level.
I just wonder if there's any changes you want to make, or just stick with the existing policy at this time?
Well, we're not necessarily at that particular level because our fund balance is, the 2.1. So, because the policy doesn't talk about uncollected taxes, so.
Well, uncollected tax, well, that's considered revenue at this point, right?
It's an asset, but it's not cash.
Right,
It's-
I
they haven't
agree.
Paid it, so.
That's correct.
Because I'm just thinking in terms of going forward, if we were to use any of the fund balance, even if we were gonna use some of it for reducing the tax rate, it looks like you could probably just use the, what is it? The 8% is 1.8 million, 12% is 8.1 million. So it's 2.1, so you could use 358,000 about to reduce the taxes. I just think the 1.8 million is a little bit high. I'd rather see it at 1.5. And also, the policy is, we will try to, it says.
Yeah, it's
thou
striving.
shall, Thou
Yeah.
shall try to, so we can do anything we really want. I did think that there's a minimum level that we should kind of like, we shouldn't go below.
Yeah, and I agree with that as well.
And we talked about this a few times,
Mhm.
and I don't know if we can tweak it, change it a little bit. Because in 2006, we had a fund balance of 0. So,
Yeah.
and then it's subsequently risen since then to a high of 2.7 million. So, and we're trying to give as much as we can back, via reducing the tax rate and also using some of the fund balance to pay for things like trust fund deposits and stuff like that. So,
Okay, what was the comment from the treasurer at one time?
I
There
think
was
at
a
the
state-
time we were presenting this information, we were talking about the 1.8. I think he said he was comfortable at 1.8, although I know from other conversations that he'd be more comfortable he's comfortable with having a fund balance at 2 million, net the back taxes. So,
well, comfortable is nice.
Mhm.
I like to be comfortable too, but comfortable on the back of the taxpayer, I'm not comfortable with. So I'd be more happy if we were to say the guideline is like 10%. That would bring it down to 1.5 million at the current rate.
Carrie?
Where's our, oh, there they are. Is that the latest? That's not the latest uncollected tax number, is it? No, that was,
no,
no.
that was as of June 30th.
Yeah.
because that ties to the audited unassigned fund balance figure.
Well, I think, yeah, I think I'd be comfortable with 10%.
Let's our hand up, please.
John Captain, Stepping Stones Road. At the time, February 14th, when you met with the treasurer, Selectman Bugby asked about, through the year, what was the minimum, in effect, the minimum balance in our checking account? How low did we go? And my recollection is that at the meeting, you did not get an answer.
No.
And it appears that, again, maybe you're having this discussion without knowing that answer. And that's critical.
Well,
I thought subsequent to that
No,
meeting,
we
you
did get an
received,
answer.
right, I thought that you received
I
the
got the
cash
graph.
flow. Yeah,
You got the what?
I got the graph. I don't remember.
no, you got a cash flow report.
Yes.
That's right, you did.
Yes, because there was a point that we touched fairly low, if I remember right. There was one
But then
point
it
where
came
we
back.
touched
Right.
fairly low.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's my
That's
comment, is that ought to be part of the discussion, and with what's accompanying the agenda, that information isn't there. And
Do you
it
have,
seems to be missing from the discussion.
do you have that in your email? I don't have it here.
Well, that, I'm pretty sure that was discussed in a public meeting, because that, at the time, came along with the explanation relative to why we were in the red, because of the 1.7 million in taxes that didn't get
Oh, that
recognized.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think,
But that was a blip. That's just,
right,
so,
yeah. But what I'm suggesting is that information was presented that was discussed at a public meeting, my recollection.
well, we can find that and provide that. Maybe we can postpone the discussion until we have
Yeah,
that.
we can table this till
well,
we
it
get
would
to
be
the...
good, I think, maybe just to look at that line again, the graph, and see, because I don't remember how low we did go.
I think we
And
dipped below.
before we, what?
I think we dipped below 1 million, but the thing is, the million is his artificial horizon, because the fund, the investment policy says he has to keep $1 million on hand. So when we're talking about going into the red, it's not into the red, it's below the millions that he has. And I don't remember it going
I
that far
understand, but
low.
it still leaves a balance, and what was the balance?
It was a little under $1 million.
It's a little under $1 million.
Yeah, so we've got $1 million cushion anyway, so. But I think that issue is him not following the investment policy, which says he has to keep $1 million. So it's not like we're down to 0 or we're down to nothing.
Exactly.
So, but I would suggest that we review that and then take a look at it next time.
I agree.
That would be good.
I have no problem to table it.
Mhm.
So I'll table. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tappan.
Let's go back to item number 4, Tom Murdock, application of the Advisory Budget Committee. You're here. You want to introduce yourself, please? Name and address, and tell you why you'd like to be on the committee.
All right, I'm Tom Murdock. I live at 16 Riverside Farm Drive, in Lee, obviously. And I've done quite a bit in community service through the last 20 years, I guess, since Jesse was born. And I've been doing quite a bit of coaching and volunteer work with the athletic program with ORYA and running soccer programs and so forth. So I am a member of the Fire Department Association and of the Lee Church. And I was looking to do something more with the town, become more involved, and this seemed like a good point. It's something that was needed, apparently. Chairman LaCourse was telling me that there was a spot that nobody ran for, so there's a spot open, and I figured that maybe I could help in that regard. So I would like to do that, if so approved.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions for the board?
No?
As you know, there was nobody, and there was a writing candidate, right? And then they got 6 votes or something. And then
Yep.
they checked, and the person wasn't interested in continuing. And I heard idle chatter from Tom a while back that maybe, I want to get involved. And I said, well, this is a good way to get involved.
It was just a one-year slot that was open?
Yeah.
I think so.
No,
They
but when
fill
one
it.
is appointed, they can only fill,
We can only do that.
you can only fill it until the next election.
Okay.
I think there were a couple of slots too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So whatever I can do to help.
All right. Therefore, I move to approve a 1-year appointment of Mr. Tom Murdock to the Advisory Budget Committee.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. So someone will be getting a hold of me to let me know where I need to be and what?
Just go to the clerk's office on Wednesday or Friday to get sworn in.
Oh, okay. And I'll just let them know that I need to be sworn in.
They'll have the paperwork by then.
All right. Thank you
Thank you,
very
Tom.
much.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
Denise, do you have his contact stuff?
It'll be a while before they meet.
I know, but if you can forward it to Alice,
So
so she can get.
Thank you. Item number 9, Julie Gilbert, Town Administrator.
Question arose at a previous meeting regarding timber tax delinquencies, let's call them. And at the time, we had 3. It wasn't, well, there's a somewhat lengthy process for timber tax. And the first thing is the intent to cut. And after a certain period of time has gone by, and we don't receive the report back after the intent to cut, that's what generated the letters from the planning and zoning administrator.
Okay.
So all 3 of the entities have been contacted, and we did receive the report of cut from one of them, but we have yet to hear from the other 2. Chinburg has contacted me a couple of times. They're well aware. They're working on it again. Of course, though, they have to get the person who cut the timber to file the report. So a tax bill has not even been generated yet, because the tax bill can't be generated until we receive the report, and it goes to the assessor, and then it goes to the tax collector. I also understand that there is some provision in the law that might end up involving the police department. But at this point, again, it's just the reports that haven't been filed, so, but they are aware of it.
So the report comes back, we bill them, and that goes back to the tax collector? Or who does that go to?
Well, the report goes to the assessor. I think the assessor determines or confirms what the amount
Mhm.
is, and then that goes to the tax collector, who generates the bill.
And then they pay the tax collector.
Ultimately, yes.
And we don't have any of those outstanding? Is
We
that-
don't have any outstanding, to the best of my knowledge, we don't have any outstanding tax bills. We're just waiting for the reports to generate the tax bill.
Okay, thanks.
Last meeting, we talked about possibly getting an appraisal of the church property, and I spoke with a gentleman by the name of Brian DuBois appraising out of Barrington. He had done some work for us on the Brickell property. So it would be about $600 to have an appraisal done of the property if it was determined ahead of time that the parcel of land that we were contemplating purchasing is a building lot.
Is it what?
A building lot.
Out of record,
If it's not a building lot and you want an appraiser to help determine that it's not a building lot, that becomes more expensive, maybe $1,500 to do the appraisal. So I told him, hold off, and I went and spoke with Karen Rossi, and she and I went out, she had the wheel, and we measured from the property line, 250 feet, because our zoning regulations require 250 feet of frontage. If you are going to subdivide a property, then both lots have to have at least 250 feet. 250 feet brought us to, there's just one little section of fence in front of the parsonage. So it brought us to there, so in other words, 250 feet, now we're in front of the parsonage. So, and according to Ms. Rossi, which would be a non-conforming lot, and they don't ever approve non-conforming lots if you don't have the frontage. You don't get a frontage variance. I then asked, okay, well, could you draw, let's just call it a jiggy-joggy line, so that you're not drawing a property line through the parsonage? And she said that would probably not pass muster with
They
the
don't
zoning
allow
board.
jiggy-joggy lines?
Jiggy-joggy lines.
They don't like jiggy-jaggy lines.
So, that being said, we can certainly still go forward, well, I'll get to that in a minute. The value of the property then becomes,
Yep.
what is the buyer willing to pay, and then it just becomes a negotiation, assuming for the moment that there is no value in it as a buildable lot, because obviously a buildable lot has a greater value, one would think, than a lot that you can't build on if you could subdivide it. Now, of course, if the town were to purchase the property, then we just adjust our lot line, and the 250 feet, according to Ms. Rossi, is not an issue. Just for point of reference, I pulled up at the time, I guess this was sometime last week, there were let's maybe say there were 10 parcels of land in Lee that came up land only. These are asking prices, I didn't do any further research to determine what people actually pay. And they run from $60,000, say, up to $97,000 asking price for a buildable lot. That would be a 2 acre lot. And the ones that are the highest priced are at Chestnut Way, which is one of our newer subdivisions, which the purchase price includes some improvements already made, including driveway stub, electrical stub, and clearing, and so forth. So, just again, for point of reference. So if you set 80,000 as an average, let's just say, for a buildable lot in the town of Lee, and one determines that that's church property would not be a buildable lot, then one might think that you start negotiating somewhere south of that. All of that is just background to see, obviously, whether the board still wants to proceed with getting an appraisal. I certainly suspect that if the board were to go forward with a more elaborate, shall we call it, appraisal, they would go to the planning and zoning office and ask many of the same questions that Karen and I asked. But So again, just looking for direction from the board at this point, whether you want to move forward on the appraisal or think about what you want to do.
Comments? You want to move forward?
In terms of an appraisal,
Yeah.
can we have this discussion after we have the discussion in item number 13?
Yes, we can.
What is that?
Yes.
Do you want to see number 13?
Oh, yeah, okay.
We'll move that
Technology
one.
is wonderful. It works great.
We'll move that down to unfinished business.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
Again, in the discussion that the board had relative to goals and aspirations, one of the items on Chairman LaCourse's list was to revisit the pay in lieu of vacation and to put in a grandfather provision and therefore saying that from some date forward, I put May 1st in, whatever date the board wants, that pay in lieu of vacation would not be granted.
This is one of those items that's been a thorn in my side for a while. When Carol Dennis was on the board, we had a major discussion on this, about what's the purpose of vacation. What's the purpose of vacation is for you to get away from this place if you can, and to rehabilitate yourself a little bit. But I do understand in a small town, it's hard to get away when you have a small, intimate population, and there's not enough people to go around. I think it's a policy that's been around for some time. I don't know when it was enacted. Do you have any idea?
I didn't look into that. I think it's been around for quite a while.
It's been around for quite a while. It's something I tried to dispose of a while back, and I couldn't move on it, but I want to have this discussion now and see if we can move forward on it. Anybody that's already here can maintain policy. I think Julie put down, with the hire date of May 1st, 2017 or before. So anybody's grandfather can maintain buying back vacation time if they want to. In the future, I don't want to move in that direction anymore. I think it works against the whole idea what the purpose was. The longer you work here, you need a little bit more time off, whether it's all at once or split up or something else. And we need to get used to the fact that, people need to can't work 60, 70 hours a week, and they need vacation time to recoup and make themselves healthy and productive. It's one of those things, I think it's time to maybe dispose of it at this time. But anybody that's already here, I don't want, it's totally grandfathered, because they were hired knowing that particular policy.
Remind me, it's 10 years and, what is it? 10 years and
The
something?
more than 10 years of service who get at least 15 days of earned vacation per year, you can cash in 1 week. Although I was surprised to see of the towns that responded to my request for information,
Mhm.
some towns have an even more generous.
Yes, they do.
And actually, I think it's Guilford, they just automatically pay people
Yeah.
if they have time accrued at the end of the year that exceeds the maximum. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things I call it incentive pay syndrome. The more you work, the more you can do, you get incentivized, and you want to do more and more, you get more money, you start living on what you're incentivized to do. It's like, a lot of times, if you look at machine operators, they're paid 100%, but if they do 120%, they get a little bit more money. But then they start living on the extra 20%. And I don't,
And do we consider that we might have employees that at a point in time need the money?
well, that's an issue. I know when they're hired, they know about this particular program, but if they are coming in at the particular level and it's not applicable to them anymore, I guess they know about it right in the beginning.
I mean, but they elect, if you would, to take not take vacation, but take the pay in lieu of vacation, because at that point in time, they need the extra cash.
I would imagine they would.
So there's a segment of this policy that can have an impact on it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you as far as taking vacation,
Health and welfare is important.
but it is. And I know from my past experience that there were times when people would take it, not because they want the money, but because they need the money. They would like to go on vacation. But they just couldn't do it. There was times when they couldn't do it, so that's the downside of it. I guess we'll just have to, whatever, I just feel like we're taking some flexibility away from them in making a decision when they might not be able to take a vacation, and they might need the additional monies to get them through something. We're taking that option away from them. I don't know how many people say, the heck with it, I'm not going on vacation, I'll just take the money. There's just no way to gauge it. But there is a downside to the decision to take it off, but we're grandfathering it. I think that's very fair. We can certainly see how much of an issue it becomes when you go to do new hires and see if they raise the question about, okay, I want us to be aware that we are taking something away also.
Scott?
I agree with you, John. Vacation is for people to get away, to find something else to do so you're not thinking about work. That's part of the rejuvenating process. I like the idea of grandfathering those people, and the people that are coming in afterwards, they won't have the expectation they're gonna get it.
That's right.
So I think that's okay. I understand your point, Mr. Brown. But I think the other two, at least for me, way higher than that particular thing. And how many people take it? There's this one or two?
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe.
But the actual ones that do take it, that do get paid, there's, what, 2?
There's more than that.
There's more than that?
Mm,
There's 4?
Yeah, 4, 5, yeah.
50.
4, 5, 6.
Speaking for myself, it's not about needing or wanting the extra money. But for instance, had I not taken advantage of it this year, I would be losing vacation time at this
That's
point.
the other aspect of it.
I appreciate the fact that the board is concerned, but in a perfect world, but it seems, especially in our agency, and possibly the same with the fire department, you say, okay, I'm gonna get away this summer, and then you have somebody out on maternity leave, or somebody out injured, or somebody quit, so you terminate. Now you're shorthanded and you're not able to take advantage of the vacation time. So that was just that's what it's always been for me is, had I not purchased it, I would start losing vacation time at some time during the middle of the year. But I agree, if somebody coming in isn't expecting it, and it's nothing that we ever discuss with new hires, we say, oh, by the way, once you hit 10 years, you can get this, so, and unless they scour through their personnel policy, which I find most don't, they don't even know they get it.
Thank you. I think at this point,
Bring it forward as a final.
bring it forward as a final later, so it'll sit for a while so we can ponder a little bit more, but next time, let's bring something forward, all right?
Can we request that the town administrator forward that we're looking into this to all the town employees, so if they want to come and speak to it,
Sure.
they could at the, whatever meeting we're going to be talking about it?
Okay.
But it doesn't affect the current town employees.
That's my understanding from the proposal, yes.
Yeah,
They're grandfathered.
everybody would be grandfathers already here right now.
Merit increase policy is, I'm still working on it.
Okay.
So I'll bring it forward at the next meeting.
Anything else?
The town secretary and I are planning to attend the Primex conference, so we will be out of the office this week, Wednesday and Thursday.
It's posted so people would know.
We'll let them know.
But what, a sign on the door?
Well, I mean, the office isn't gonna be closed.
Yes. okay.
Joanne will be there.
Joanne will.
Joanne will be
Joanne
there.
will be there.
Joanne will be
Okay. So you'll be there, won't you?
And Colleen on Thursday.
Thursday and Thursday,
See, there we go.
There you go.
Anyway, thank you.
no problem.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Item 10, motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Do you have something for us?
Sorry.
She's pondering, I can see it.
Right.
A lot of paperwork for $2, $470. Just one? Yeah, it's just part of the timber tax
Yeah,
thing.
that's part of that.
And then this only requires your signature.
There's another one. Okay.
One's up in the back, I guess. No, there's two in the back, I guess.
I move to accept the public and non-public meeting minutes of April 24th, 2017.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. What? Oh, that one.
Taking it back.
No, I... Oh, I'm not the only one. I see.
What is it? Come on, Denise, come on. Jeez. You demoting me again? I took a look at the website, you know.
I know, and I fixed that. and-
Did you fix it today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, after I looked at it, right?
and I fixed it. I fixed it. Why is this like this?
I know.
Here you go.
Did you get both of those?
Look, it says Chairman LaCourse at the top. Wow.
Yeah.
Painful, isn't it?
Maybe you should reciprocate, John, and get Chris to town secretary, like parking lot, sweeper or something like that. Chief parking lot.
I love it.
Chief Postmaster Chaser.
Where the town hall is now, that's approximately where the town pound used to be. So maybe we can have you go around capturing all the animals that get loose in town.
Don't suggest it, she'll have all the dogs in town, in town hall, and
I think Eric probably has some cows that you could probably get in there.
I get calls and I send people out, go rescue this animal.
Town pound, huh? We don't have a town pound.
Sure we
It
did.
used to be
Where is it?
the,
Used to
it
be
used
down
to
at
be
the
the triangle,
behind
right?
No.
Oh, is this what you were talking about? I got promoted?
Yeah,
Got promoted?
yeah.
Oh.
Here you go. No, the town common, it's not on our property.
Oh, it is.
It's on the other side of that road, I thought.
No, it's right here.
Triangle.
I have a town pound is right. This is our little town pound was
Town
right,
pound right there?
right there.
What is going
All
on?
right.
And the meeting house was right there. Town pound was right there. So it's technically on Banisters, but right next to us.
Ah, okay, that's what I thought, yeah. I read it somewhere.
maybe it was wrong in all the other towns and never was. No.
I move to accept the manifest number 22 and week payroll ending May 7, 2017.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Thank you. Item 13, motion to enter non-public session, New Hampshire RSA 91-A:311, C, tax deeds, A, employee and department head evaluations, A, transfer station manager retirement, and C, church property.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Roll call? Oh, roll call?
Roll call.
Yep, do roll call. vote.
Yes, you will.
Oh,
Mr. Bugger.
yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. LaCourse. Yes. Motion carries. You got my name correct on here now?
It's on the top.
Play around with that.
Change those.
Yeah, pack it up, we got more work to do.
I know, I'm just gonna take my computer and.
Text.
And move to seal the minutes for the discussions we had on tax deeds, employees, department head evaluations, transfer station manager, retirement, and church property. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Getting pretty good at reading my writing there, Denise? Good.
It's been a challenge.
Roll call, Mr. Bugby?
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. Aye.
Ms. LaCourse? Aye. Motion passed. Okay, miscellaneous unfinished business. You had a statement you want to make? Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown?
I'm listening, I'm listening. I would like to make a motion
So make it.
for the select board to vote. That the town hall is the first priority for either relocation or refurbishment.
Second. Further discussion on this particular motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Unanimous, motion carries. Any other unfinished business?
Flagpole at Liverpool Park is in. And the light on the top of
Oh,
it.
that's right.
Yes.
With the MIA flag, I want to thank you for
With
that.
the MIA flag, the
There we go.
Police Association paid for the MIA flag.
There you go.
The light on top is supposed to last 3 years.
Is it,
We'll see.
it's lit, I'll have to go by there at night.
It's
I'm
solar,
gonna-
you should, yep, it's solar powered, so it'll be lit up, and nobody has to deal with it. And we're gonna be looking at the other flag poles to install similar things on those as well, to eliminate those. So
The
that's
other,
up.
the other thing I noticed, that I sent an email to Denise, and I think I copied Julie on it, is the e-crier, the quality of the e-crier, I think, has just gotten
It really looks nice.
significantly better, both in content and in just the way it presents itself. I really think it looks good.
Yeah, you should apply for an award. No, it does really look
Well, I know
nice.
it takes a lot of work.
It does take a lot of
and, you know, we keep wanting to add stuff to it and add stuff, and that lengthens the amount of time and space you have to work with, but it really does, really did first class.
And just heads up, May 15th? Yeah, May 15th, the archivist is gonna be from the Northeast Document Center, is gonna be in town. She's gonna be looking at the stuff that's in the annex in the fireproof safe for the Heritage Commission. She's gonna be looking at the items that are in here. She's gonna be looking at the items that are upstairs in the safes. She's also gonna be looking at the, there's very few items, but there's a few in the storage container. It's out by the town clerk tax collector. And then she'll be writing up a report for us in terms of recommendations and stuff like that. If there's any time, there's some items that the Heritage Commission has in the Historical Society's building. So you're gonna take a look at those as well. So that's next Monday. So just, if you see people wandering around, Sarah Cox is gonna be there. Laura Gund and Ann Jennison might be there too. So just a heads up for that.
Sounds impressive, things are moving.
Mhm.
Anything else?
No.
She's got her hand in her.
No.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.